As interest rates are increasing and property prices are declining, it is setting a perfect ground for first-time home buyers to enter into the real estate market as market is turning into buyers' favor. First-time home buyers have a lot of questions as they are new to the process. Today's video is focused towards the first-time home buyers. We will discuss the first-time home buyer journey in Canada. After watching today's video, you will feel much more confident before you go and buy your first home. So stay till the end of the video. But before we start the video, if you like the content I create on this channel, please hit the like button and consider subscribing the channel because this helps YouTube algorithm to spread the video among a bigger audience so the more people can see it. Many people often underestimate the value of the credit as a first-time home buyer, but credit is one of the things that doesn't cost you any money, but it goes a long way. So as a first-time home buyer, you have to make sure your credit is in good standing. I have created a special dedicated video about how to get a perfect credit in Canada. I'm going to include the link in the description, so check out if you have not watched the video so far in order to get a perfect score in Canada. There are so many factors that are instrumental behind a credit report, so make sure your credit is in good standing if you're going to jump into the market and buy your first home in Canada. Most of the lenders need to establish your credit repayment history before they extend you any credit in the form of mortgage. Before you even jump into the market and start looking for the houses with your realtor, make sure to run your credit report. This is free. You can go to Equifax and TransUnion and run a free credit report, and this will give you a good idea about your current credit standing. I have seen a lot of clients who actually start looking for the house and they end up liking something pretty much and their hopes dashed into the ground when they eventually find out that there is something wrong with their credit report which they need to fix before they go to the lender, so eventually they lose those properties. So this is one of the most important thing, that you run your credit report before you jump into the real estate market and start looking for the houses with your realtor. Make sure you have a good credit report. I have seen a lot of people who have their issues with the credit. Either your credit report is mixed with someone else, or sometimes people are not aware about the late payments or delinquent payments, or in worst case scenario, something went in the collection and they are not aware about it. So this credit report is actually creating problem for them to go to the lender and borrow funds in the form of mortgage. So this is one of the most important thing as a first-time home buyer, that you go to Equifax and TransUnion website or visit them in person and run your credit report and make sure you have good credit standing in order to secure a loan for your first home. The second biggest factor that you have to keep in your mind as a first-time home buyer is your tax returns. Most of the lenders in Canada need to see your 2 years of tax returns in order to see your consistency in the income. So as a first-time home buyer, you have to produce 2 years of T1 generals and notice of assessments to show that you have a certain level of income that is maintained from a certain time. So make sure even before you start looking for the house, you file your taxes for last 2 years and you don't owe anything to Revenue Canada. If there is any outstanding balance that you owe to Revenue Canada, most of the lenders will ask a proof upfront that you have already paid it in full. Depending on your income scenario, the chances are you may get away without producing the notice assessments by only giving them pay slips and T4s, but most of the lenders may ask to produce you 2 years tax returns to see the consistency in your income. So as a first time home buyer, please make sure that you file your taxes with Revenue Canada, and if there is any outstanding balance, please pay it in full. The third biggest factor that you have to keep in your mind as a first time home buyer is your down payment. Most of the lenders need 90 days of down payment history before they can advance the mortgage loan. I have seen a lot of people who had money that they lended to their friends and relatives, and when they are about to buy their home, they start receiving back from them, which creates a big transaction into their bank statements. So lenders start questioning all that if it is within 90 days of your purchase date. So as a first time home buyer, make sure you have the down payment available into your bank accounts 90 days prior to you sign your agreement of purchase. And if there is any down payment that is coming from your immediate relatives, you may have to sign a gift letter, but gifted down payment is allowed as long as it is your primary residence. If you are going to buy an investment property, most of the lenders don't allow the gifted down payments. Since we are talking about the down payment for first-time home buyers in Canada, the government of Canada is allowing the RRSP loans up to $35,000 that you can use towards your down payment. Now, most of the people have a confusion that this is some sort of grant that government is giving, but it is not. RRSP is a registered retirement saving plan that government of Canada allow you to contribute, and this is tax exempted. So as a first-time home buyer, you can contribute towards the RRSP and use the same money as a part of the down payment, and it is allowed $35,000 by each person. For example, if somebody's husband and wife and they can contribute $35,000 each, so two people can contribute $70,000 towards the RRSP, and they can eventually withdraw it and use towards the down payment as long as they are buying their first home in Canada. So this is a huge advantage, guys. This is a tax exempted money. Make sure as a first time home buyer you prepare well and start contributing towards your RRSP, because if you didn't contribute, there is no way that you can withdraw that money. Now, most of the people ask this question, what is the minimum down payment required as a first time home buyer? So in Canada, as a first time home buyer, you can buy the real estate with minimum down payment of 5% as long as your purchase price is up to $500,000. If your purchase price is up more than $500,000 and less than $1 million, your minimum down payment requirement is 5% for first $500,000 and 10% of the difference. Let me explain through an example. Suppose if you're buying something of $600,000 purchase price, your minimum down payment requirement in this case is $25,000 for first $500,000 and then 10% of the next $100,000. So total down payment requirement in this case is $35,000. If your purchase price is million or above, you need to bring minimum of 20% down payment. And that brings me to the next fourth important point as a first time home buyer, which is savings. As I mentioned, RRSP is one form of saving. You can also start saving into tax-free saving accounts, and there are other saving options available by each lender, but make sure you have sufficient savings. When we talk about the saving, there are a lot of people who complain that they have a good income, but they are not able to save enough to buy their first home. My piece of advice for those people who have a good income but they are not able to save enough money for the down payment, first step towards the right direction is to first track their spending. Now there are a lot of people who say that they don't have enough income so that they can save to buy their first home. So my piece of advice for them is to start looking the ways to increase their income. Start a side hustle, start another part-time job, or in the worst case scenario, start investing money onto yourself to improve your skills first before you even go into the market and look for higher paid jobs. I have seen a lot of people who have a good income but their cash flow is very poor because they have a lot of other trade lines where they are paying crazy interest rates. If you're one of them who has a lot of trade lines and you're paying excessive interest rates in the form of credit card, line of credits, car loans and stuff, make sure you consolidate it. You can go to your lender and ask for a debt consolidation loan where your interest rate will be lesser than what you're currently paying. This helps a lot. Now, when we talk about the saving, first-time homebuyers often make this mistake that they go buy their car or lease their car before they actually buy their home. This proves to be a killer for your mortgage application. So always as a first-time home buyer, buy your house first before you lease a car or finance a car, because this is very crucial. Every $450 monthly payment obligation is equivalent to $100,000 mortgage. Most of the car loans and car lease companies have an amortization between 4 to 7 years, which is equivalent to more than $100,000 for your mortgage, because your mortgage amortization is close to 25 to 30 years. So don't make a mistake as a first-time home buyer. Don't buy your car. But before you buy your first home, buy a cheap car. Don't lock yourself into long-term higher payment obligations of car leases and car loans before you eventually go and buy your first home. So after following all these steps, make sure you contact your lender and get a pre-approval. As a first-time home buyer, it is very important to get a pre-approval upfront. This will give you a good idea about how is your credit, how much income the lender is willing to accept, and how much amount as a mortgage you can qualify as a first-time home buyers. I hope you find today's video useful. If you like the content I create on this channel, please hit the like button and consider subscribing the channel, because this helps YouTube algorithm to spread the video among bigger audience. Thank you so much.